The unbreakable world record. Let's go.
What happens when your world record is so unbreakable, you have to start paying your competition to try and beat it?
What?
Because 30-time Rubik's Cube world record holder Stanley Chappell got so tired of winning, he did exactly
30 times world record holder in the Rubik's Cube? What? How do you have 30 world records for a Rubik's Cube? Problem. I have money in my Cash App account that I want to use at a place of business. The issue is I don't want to send that money to a bank account to then use a card to buy those items. I would love to do it directly. Solution, I get a free, count it free, Cash App debit card that I can customize myself and order directly to my door. You heard it here first, folks. The Cash App debit card is here. You can customize it and order it directly to your door today. There are so many options, so many customizable things that you can fit towards your own personality. I just ordered this neon yellow looking one. It's glow in the dark. Didn't even know that's a thing, but it is. The Cash App debit card also gives you so many exclusive discounts on things that you regularly purchase, like coffee, boba, video games, and more. And if you're a fan of concerts, the Cash App debit card can get you early access to certain concert tickets like Kendrick Lamar and Sabrina Carpenter. There are also no monthly charges or minimum balances, and if you're 13 to 17, you could also get a Cash App debit card. You just need a parent or guardian to help open a Cash App sponsored account. And for a limited time only, new Cash App customers over the age of 18 download the app, sign up, and use the exclusive promo code CASH10. Send $5 to a friend or more in the next 14 days, and you will get $10 dropped into your account. If you're 13 to 17, get a parent or guardian to help you open a Cash App sponsored account and use the referral code CASH10 to get $10 dropped into your account when you order and activate a Cash App card, as well as send $5 or more to a friend within the first 14 days. Terms apply. Thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it.
got so tired of winning, he did exactly that.
Being Stanley Chappell is an unfair advantage.
To the point where he didn't just put up a bounty for anyone who could break his world record. He knew that would be impossible. Instead, he offered to pay anyone who could even come within 8 whole seconds of him.
8 seconds? How does he hold a world record by 8 seconds in the Rubik's Cube? I know there's different I used to be a cuber myself. I used to be a cuber for a certain period of time. The summer I learned how to juggle, I learned how to cube, and I've lost all my talents, but I used to be able to solve a Rubik's Cube in like fucking 58 seconds. I was not one of those guys that's like, bink, bink, and they do that. I can't do that. I would be like, and I'd be able to solve it in like a minute. But when I did cube, I knew there was different versions, right? They have like a weird triangle ones. They have 3x3, 4x4. They have blind, which is where you like either you look at. There's blind ones where like look at it, put the cup down, and then you take it off and solve. I think, or there's ones where you look at it, put it down, and then you solve it. That's regular cubing. And then there's ones where you look at the cube, put a blindfold on, and then try and solve it without looking. And that's impossible.
Nearly 3 years later, no one has come remotely close. You see, just 3,000 people on Earth have even attempted the category Stanley's dominated for the better part of a decade.
Okay, so it's a niche category.
So the only way to comprehend his skill level is to understand the, in comparison, simple nature.
Oh my god, it's the blindfold shit. Stop. I have to say, I might be glazing too much. This is the most impressive thing I think I've ever seen. One of. At like top 10. Watching somebody know so many fucking, like, not equations, but, what is it called? Algorithms for how to solve the cube to where they could stare at it and then close their eyes and solve it just off memory is absurd. Like, you have to know thousands of ways to look at it.
Of solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. It's a much more inclusive category than the one Stanley specializes in, with around 11,000 people worldwide who have verifiably solved the cube blindfolded. It's still the definition of a top 1% skill, but to break the world record, you have to excel far.
And I always wonder, do you think they're looking at it in their brain? They have to be. When they see the cube, I'm assuming they get a mental image of the colors, and then they pick it up and they're solving it like in their head. They're watching the pieces move.
Far beyond that surface level top 1%.
Because even if they're slow, they'll like sometimes they'll fuck up and you'll watch them do it and they'll recorrect with the blindfold on. So they definitely go, oh, no, that's the wrong way. And then they spin it the other way.
This is where you'll find names like Charlie Eggins and Stanley Chappell, solvers who have memorized hundreds of algorithms and learned finger tricks specialized for the event. But the Rubik's Cube blindfolded world record holder isn't Stanley Chappell. So how is there this big of a gap between him and everyone else? Well, that's where it gets interesting, because surprisingly, of the 11,000 solvers on the planet, he ranks right about here.
Bro, 14 seconds blindfolded. Chat, for the people that don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, it's actually impossible unless you're taught how to. Like, for you to solve a Rubik's Cube raw, you're never getting it. I'm letting you know you will never solve one. That's not cap. I'm serious. Because most people that solve a Rubik's Cube do this. They see the Rubik's Cube and they can solve one or two sides. That is not how you solve a Rubik's Cube usually, right? You kind of get patterns in the cube, at least for early cubers like myself. You get this like T pattern, which is, it's like a T pattern that you want to achieve, and then you're able to solve the cube off of that. Like you kind of find a cross, you solve one side, then you find these T's, and you're able to manipulate the cube in a way that it solves it all at once. But like most people that solve a Rubik's Cube with no prior knowledge are able to physically get like one or two sides, one solid color, but then they're fucking hard stuck because the color, yes, it's in the right spot, but the other parts on the other side aren't. So you're not able to fucking actually solve the cube. It would take you days.
Get me wrong, 7th in the world isn't bad, it's just not what Stanley's known for, because his skill set is a little bit different. The 3x3 blindfolded world record should represent the highest form of mastery, but it doesn't, until we double the amount of pieces.
Like, I don't think you realize how much harder a 4x4 cube is than a 3x3. There's so many, he might say.
With 171 septillion times more.
I don't even know how to quantify that in my brain. What is septillion?
71 septillion times more possible combinations than the standard cube.
Bro, like, you gotta think, look at that fucking cube. Imagine trying to move that orange one in the middle to another side and bring the greens through. Oh my fucking God. That's impossible.
4x4 blindfolded is the pinnacle of Rubik's Cube world records. So much so that 20 years after the category was first introduced, it reached a moment when it officially became the only truly unbreakable world record. Not because of its absurd technical difficulty, but because of one man who rose to the top of the world rankings with a dream. A dream of a solve that wouldn't just be a world record, but that would kill
Bro, he memorized the cube. I don't think I would ever solve a 4x4. Let me Google that. I feel like Google's going to say you can't solve it. How long does the average person does it take the average person to solve a 4x4 Rubik's Cube? An average 4x4 cuber that knows how to solve takes 5 to 10 minutes. That doesn't give me any info, though.
The category entirely. His name was Stanley Chappell.
Kind of had this like mental image of a solve that would just kill the event.
Just one problem.
Bro, he's trying to get a look at that. Wait, what? That's not him. Where's Stanley Chappell? He's trying to get a solve so fast that there's just no point in even entering the event anymore.
4x4 blindfolded had already reached its human limit. China's...
Is there any like sports event that has a world record that's like that? Where somebody's so good that there's no point in even trying? What's like an unbreakable track record? In 1983, Jarmila Krachavalova's 800 still remains unbroken. And they had way less technology then. That's crazy athletic. Tiger Woods. Yeah, Tiger Woods like prime in 2000.
China's Kai Junlin had already mastered it. Because 4 years after his legendary 1 minute and 26 second world record, nobody had even come within 10 seconds of it. Of all the sub-130s ever done in competition, he held 9 of them. All 9 of them, easily making him the best in the world at the time. And it wasn't close. But that's...
Do they win money for this? I have not a guilt, but I feel sad for people that are so good at such niche things, but still hold like side jobs. Like when you hear about like Olympic athletes competing in the 800 meter that work at fucking Walmart, I'm like, dude, you're kidding me, right? You're a pinnacle of fitness. You're one of the best athletes in the world, and you still work a 9 to 5 while trying to do... They get sponsors? Bro, what fucking sponsor are you getting for a Rubik's Cube event?
If Stanley Chapel...
Cube Lube? Make sure you solve your cubes faster than ever with Cube Lube. You've ever had a situation in a competition where your cube's not lubed up enough? Sometimes you're trying to solve the cube and it just gets stuck on one of the changes. With Cube Lube, you'll never have that problem.
didn't exist. Kaijin
Your cube will be looser than ever.
was dominant. Stanley was the Grim Reaper of 4x4 blindfolded, because he didn't care about simply being the best in the world. He wanted to push the category so far that his world record would never be broken again. And that's exactly what he did.
Stanley Chapel signed a $1.3 million contract annually with Cube Lube.
Stanley didn't just break the world record in 2019. He broke it 6 straight times like it was absolutely nothing. Because little did we know,
A
this
minute and 2 seconds. He was 16 seconds faster than the previous guy.
16-second lead over second place was nothing. Considering the groundbreaking technique he had just learned, the entire concept of a human limit was about to be completely shattered. Stanley had found
Do they have, like, what's the biggest Rubik's Cube? Oh, fuck off.
This is a 49 by 49 Rubik's Cube. It weighs 30 kilograms.
the key to ending 4x4 blindfolded. Over the course of 7 months, he focused all of his energy on becoming the only person in history to learn the technique of one-pass memorization. And as speculated,
What the fuck does that mean?
turned out to be completely broken. You see, every world record holder before Stanley would take an initial look at the cube and memorize a string of letters that told them where each piece needed to go for it.
Wait, that's how they do it? That's how they do it? Oh my god, so it's an algorithm of memorization as well. I thought it, because usually when you look at people that solve Rubik's Cubes, you just assume they know how to solve it. You're not like, oh, they're learning algorithms of like right, up, down, right. Like it's kind of like a fucking Mortal Kombat video game. I never thought they were memorizing a string of letters. I thought they would just like picture it in their brain.
To be solved. The problem is, a 4x4 cube has so many pieces that you can't just memorize this string in one go. It's simply way too much information for the brain to handle. This is why top-level solvers have to review it to make memorization remotely possible, meaning you must account for every piece twice to have a solved cube. What Stanley did is he had somehow developed a strong enough working memory that he didn't have to review his memorization at all. He could simply identify the string of 50 or so letters needed to solve the cube and immediately
He would memorize 50. He would read. Well, he's reading 50 letters, right? So it's not like he's just memorizing this. He's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds looking at a cube, and he's memorizing 50 letters that fast.
start doing so. His memorization speeds didn't seem physically possible because they weren't physically possible.
What do you think his IQ is? He's got to be smart.
One passing was the only way to get to his level, and fortunately for him, it was nearly impossible to learn. But it was also by far the riskiest technique in the entire event, and Stanley's solve success rate plummeted because of it. The hesitation when memorizing so much information so quickly caused tons of near misses on world record page.
Gotta get that Cube Lube. Ooh, this was before he was partnered. This is when he was working with another cube company.
The trade-off was that every time he did solve the cube, it was almost guaranteed to be some kind of record. One thing was clear. One passing was the definition of all or nothing.
So he would fuck up all or nothing. He was like a glass cannon, dude. He'd fuck up way more, but when he got it right, it was really good.
And it had quite literally allowed Stanley to become the human limit. But for some reason, he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted a world record that would kill the event as
Sub 1 minute.
a whole. And despite this absurd gap, that still hadn't happened yet. And mentally, it was about to get a whole lot harder. Competing just 3 times over the next 2 years, this absurd level of perfection was starting to take a toll on him.
I just got demotivated for months and just kind of quit cubing for a while.
This lead couldn't be sustainable, and even if it was, any form of tangible improvement would be a miracle. He was already
Yeah, that was me too when I was a cuber. I just knew that the skill ceiling was so high for me that it was like, I don't know, man, how much longer can I climb?
so dominant that by the time 2021 came to an end, he held every single one of the top 20 solves ever done in competition. And one of them, in the very last round of the year, one of just 2 successful attempts in 365 days, would be the exact moment he had dreamed of.
Bro, I love documentaries about hyper niche things like this. Like this, I'm having a blast right now learning about how fucking Stanley Chappell just deconstructed the 4x4 blind Rubik's Cube solve and broke the fucking record to the point where nobody will ever be able to match him. Oh my god, are we gonna be able to watch the whole thing? I love this. Wait, does the time count? Wait, why is it starting the clock? Does memorization count as part of your time for a blind solve?
A 22-second memorization, the fastest ever.
Oh my god, wait, is that different? I didn't know that. I thought it was, yeah, that's why I was confused when he was talking about 1 pass versus 2 pass. I thought they were going through that in their head again. So most cubers take twice as long to memorize something? So another question. Regular Rubik's Cubes don't do that. In regular cubing, you have your hands on the pads, you memorize, put them down, then start.
Knows what kind of a pace he's on. The only question was whether or not this would be the solve that
Look how fast he's fucking solving, too.
finally did it. That would finally give him an unbreakable world record.
"57 seconds. Oh my god. Bro, he solved it in 30 blind.
57.87. This wasn't just the world's first sub 1. It put Stanley 20 full seconds ahead of second place. To give you any idea of how wild that is, the battle for second in the world at the time came down to 0.8 of a second. By all means, this world record was already unbreakable. This solve was already the dream come to life. But did it actually kill the event? Surely, at some point, someone else would also reach sub 1, right?
Tell me there's a rival fucking coming out of the depths. This would be a cinematic masterpiece. They should make a fucking movie about this. They should make a fucking full-length film. I would watch that. Some dude coming out, they give him an intro song, he just walks out, he's like, yeah, but I'm here to beat Stanley. He just fucking crushes his record.
Because no matter how perfect this solve was, there had to be something beyond perfection. 57 was a case of everything going right.
I mean, how fast could a computer solve it? I always want to know how, like, that comparison. Like, how fast could a computer and machine solve a Rubik's Cube comparable to a person?
Masterclass in memorization and execution. The only time save left was luck. This solve was so perfect that by the end of the next year, he had barely even come within 10 seconds of it. And with not one success in his first competition of 2023.
Well, he also could have gotten, because there's a level of rotations required to where it's considered randomized, but he could have better RNG.
It had been 14 straight months without any world record improvement. Was all the sacrifice even
Whether it was easier for him to memorize or what?
worth it? Years of perfecting the meta, driving all over the country for just 3 attempts per competition is the price of chasing a dream like Stanley's. So when you are given the attempts to do
Do you think he gets paid? I need to know. I'm sorry I'm making it about money. But I'm like, bro, he's spending his whole fucking life right now solving a goddamn Rubik's Cube. You think he's making money? Stanley Chappell. Let me look this up. How much do professional cubers make? High-level cubes can make money through competition prize money, sponsorship from cubing companies like CubeLube, and potential record bonuses provided by sponsors. The 3x3 event at the 2019 WCA offered $1,200 for first place.
so, you have no choice but to capitalize. And he wasn't. 6 attempts in a row with 0 successes. 2 weeks
$1,000 for the World Championships? That's so dick.
before one of the biggest opportunities of his career. A competition in Madison, Wisconsin, with the most rounds of 4x4 blindfolded Stanley had ever competed in. 9 attempts in 2 days. Something about it was just different. This is like going to 3 competitions at once. It wasn't just about more chances, it was about the removal of pressure. He began round 1 with a 121, a DNF, and a 104, already surpassing his fastest solve in the previous year. But his 3 solves in round 2 were a 117, a DNF, and a solve that would go on to change the course of the 4x4 blindfolded world record forever.
You can't bait me. Show me the solve.
When I started to surface as a top solver in this event in early 2018, kind of had this mental image of a solve that would just kill the event, where you get decently lucky, good memo, no.
What is he saying in his head? I needed, bro. He's talking in code in his head. He's going BCF, RQ, LT, TT, TRA, AB, BB, BBA, CC, AQ, LLL. Like, bro, it's just like he's saying letters in his head.
Causes decent turning, and I was.
You know what I want him to do? That fucking human benchmark. You know the human benchmark one? Bro, I would pay to see Stanley Chapel do this. The fucking number memory. This shit. Where you have to remember the longest number you can. Where it's like 1. Level 2. And that's 74. Like, I bet he could probably remember. Like, the average person, it says, remembers 10. He could probably remember, like, 40.
I was imagining that would happen with a time around 115 to 120. The solve had 19 memo, so, it was already...
Wait, what?
20. The solve had...
An 18-second memorization? Stanley Chapel, you dog.
19 memo, so, it was already crazy pace. But centers are where things get interesting. I very nearly dropped the cube on this alb. Honestly, yeah, pretty nervous during center execution, just because I knew it was a very fast solve.
$51.96! My God!
51.96.
And the crowd goes wild! Look at him! Look at him! He's fucking sitting...
A solve ending with one of his first contributions to the 4-blind meta, a 19-move algorithm that finished the final 2 pieces, done at an unreal 7.8 turns per second, with one world record, the culmination of 7 years of
Bro, and if he didn't fuck up on that middle piece there, that probably would have been like 48.
dominance. Stanley Chapel just killed the event as a whole, because his 51.96 put him 28 seconds ahead of second place in an event decided by fractions of a second. Stanley Chapel.
Yeah, and Hill Pong Yang Feng is probably going, no. Yo, Hill Pong Yang Feng is fucking crying himself to sleep, looking at Stanley Chapel solve this shit fucking 20, however many fucking seconds faster.
Was 50% faster than the next best person. And nearly 3 years later, he is still the only man on the planet to ever break the sub-1 barrier, something he's done 13 separate times, holding 90 of the top 100 solves ever done.
But what's crazy is in like 20 years, there's going to be some nerd that's just like, I'm going to spend the next 10 years crushing that. And it'll go down to like 30 seconds. There will be some kid that's so smart, like Stanley Chapel, memorizes it in fucking 5 seconds. Done.
Competition, it's hard to imagine 51.96 ever being broken by anyone not named Stanley Chapel, the most dominant competitor in any event in cubing history. What Stanley would want you to do is to take this as a challenge. In 2018, nobody thought...
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm not going to spend the next few years of my life trying to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube blind. I'm not smart enough, and I'm addicted to marijuana, so that'll never be me.
115 was even
Shit.
possible. But as he systematically destroyed human limit after human limit, Stanley proved that the limits themselves are simply a creation of the imagination. He said it himself. It's exactly what he wants for the category. He wants one of you to go out and attempt the impossible, to break the single most unbreakable record in
How much is he paying?
all of cubing. And what I want you to do is subscribe. Your
$10.
phone kind of vibrates if you click it.
Yeah, I will fucking subscribe to you, Stu Cube. You just made a fucking actual masterpiece. Tell me this motherfucker has other videos.
I don't know how that works, but it's pretty cool. I only know lower than a 6-year-old. it's still possible.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Stu Cube, you make any other banger videos about this shit? Oh my god, he does. When choking is part of the plan, the 8-year-old world championship dilemma. Yi Hang Wang's 3.91 world record statistically impossible. Stop. I need to watch one of these another day. Oh, we're about to get into the cube content, Chad. I'm going to be locked into that.